Tender Strands by Martin Dempsey, Chapter 28. Baron Malencron's narrative of his marvellous travels and adventures. Publisher's postscript and a conclusion. Many academics, students, and fans of literature have contacted this press to ask, why is it that the writings of such a universally reprehensible and vile individual as Baron Malencron have seen print again in the 21st century? While a vastly edited and extensively reimagined and reworked version of his stories recently saw great cinematic success, this is arguably not in itself enough to ethically or culturally justify further attention to be paid to such a person. Malencron was a sadist, a murderer, and a sex criminal, and, if his own accounts contain any facts at all, somehow managed to universally associate with many prominent figures now rightly held to be on the wrong side of history. He advocated passionately for essentialist and discriminatory views, which included, but were far from limited, to ideas which were sexist, racist, homophobic, despite his own confessions to multiple, often forced homosexual acts with others, classicist, and intellectually elitist. All of this can be neatly summarized in one of his own common sayings. If someone cannot voice an objection in fluent Latin to being enslaved, sodomized, and abandoned upon falling ill with syphilis, then they should either have read a book or have acquired better parents. The question then is, why is he still published and studied? For example, had he a circle of artistic friends and acquaintances he had fostered to follow in the footsteps of his own grudgingly, admittedly startling imaginative creativity? Had he been married, even temporarily, to a shining example of progressive opinions and views which would one day be seen as a trailblazer in her own right? Had he developed his views continually through his own life in response to the changing political landscapes around him? Had he recorded his thoughts in exacting detail regarding these matters, allowing one to get to know him intimately and fully understand how someone could come to form opinions his reader might disagree with, but come to at least to better understand? Had he at least been a fundamentally good friend, caring relative, and dignified gentleman? Perhaps then, despite his many, many flaws, the reader would be able to, at the very least, hold him as a test case to better apprehend how a good person can fall prey to bad ideas. But no. Malencron is worthy of print simply because to suppress his writings and views, like those of Dessard, John Wyndham, and many of their ilk, would be to grant them and him a cachet they simply don't deserve. Anyone who cites Malencron as an inspiration would have been a terrible person anyway, and anyone who can read his writings and feel any sense of kinship was already lost.